Can you tell the difference between these two Apple Watches? Probably not, right? Because they look exactly the same. Well, these watches are 5 generations apart from each other. There's 5 years of development between these two. The Series 4 and the brand new Series 9 here, and they look exactly the same. Even as an Apple fanboy, this one's kind of hard to stand by. But despite being absolutely identical physically to the point where I was filming this, I was getting confused which one I was looking at, I did finally upgrade to the Series 9 for a reason that's actually on the inside of this thing. Let me show it to you. And no, it's not the top thing, but I'll admit it has been actually kind of useful in a few cases. So up close, you'll notice some subtle differences. The Series 9 has a bit of a smaller bezel as opposed to the Series 4. But what we're talking about is the processor inside of the Series 9. Now, normally this isn't a big deal at all. You don't really need a fast processor in a watch. I never noticed a difference on the Series 4, but this fast processor enabled one thing that's totally changed my experience with the Apple Watch. And that's how the watch handles Siri requests. In the past, the watch didn't actually handle the processing of the Siri questions on the watch. It just sent them to your phone. All the calculations were done on your phone, and then the answer is passed back to the watch. This, for smart home purposes, means there's a ton of latency. Like, check this out. If I want to turn off my desk LEDs here, hey Siri, turn off the desk LEDs.
You got it?
We're going to wait. It's going to send it to my phone. Then it's going to turn off. It's just kind of slow. Where on the watch, everything happens locally on the watch. Siri, turn on the desk lighting.
Coming right up.
It's just instant. Now, this isn't as good of an example because it's a super simple command on the watch, but for things where you're like asking Siri like genuine questions and doing long calculations, especially if you're like wearing AirPods and stuff, it is so much more responsive and it's absolutely night and day. You might ask, when would you even use Siri on your watch when you have HomePods? I actually use it a lot. The main reason is your watch is an authenticated device. That means if you want to do something like unlock a door or view a camera, you could do it immediately on your watch without having to enter your fingerprint or Face ID or anything like that. So big fan of this, big fan of the new watch. Again, it's a little thing, but with how much I love this thing and use this thing, makes a big difference. Also, I was by no means dragging the Apple Watch through the dirt at the start there for not changing after all these years. The Apple Watch is by far, or is one of my favorite devices in Apple's lineup, and I think they've got it pretty dialed in. And if you have something that's perfect and serving its audience, the last thing you want to do is radically change it. You just want to make tiny little tweaks to make it slightly better and better, and I think that's what they've done here, and I'm super happy with it. Anyway, I got a new watch and I just wanted to show you guys my favorite part of it. If you have any questions on it, let me know. You want to know more Apple Watch tricks? I use these things all the time. Let me know in the comments. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you. Let's talk about smart home hubs. Should you get one for your smart home? Which one should you choose? And what do they even do? This is a really good question and the answer isn't that straightforward. I'm gonna explain to you everything you need to know about smart home hubs in 2 minutes, so buckle up. So the main reason there's so much confusion around hubs is because there's actually 2 totally separate types of hubs and we confuse the 2 all the time. The first type of hub is your primary smart home hub, and this is gonna be the hub tied to the main smart home ecosystem you use. This is gonna be Amazon Alexa, Apple HomeKit, or Google Home. Let me draw this out for you. So your primary hub is going to be the place that every single device in your smart home connects to. If you don't have a primary hub, all of your devices are just going to connect to your phone. Then when you leave the house or you're not in range of those devices, you'll lose control over them, which is no good for automations. So instead of the phone, we connect all of our devices to the primary hub. Now, it's really important that you use one of the devices from your ecosystem as your primary hub. That's because where you input your commands through Alexa, Google Home, or HomeKit is going to be the highest point of control that you have, and you want everything to be connected to that central place. You don't want to be jumping between apps and different hubs. There's lots of hubs on the market, like the AOTech one, that want to be your primary hub. But the problem is, if you want to use your voice control or control it through any of the apps, they have to connect to this hub, and it just adds a point of failure, and it's not the way you should do it. Your primary hub should always be your Google Home, your Amazon Alexa, or your Apple HomePod. Now, that brings us to our second type of hub, which I'm going to call secondary hubs. The Aqara Hub is a really good example of this. The goal of a secondary hub is not to be the central point of control. You always want all of your devices to connect to the main hub. What a secondary hub's goal is to adapt a non-compatible device to be compatible with your main hub. Let me kind of show you an example here with the Aqara Hub and Zigbee devices. So Zigbee is a protocol that most smart home hubs cannot have devices connect directly to. This button here just isn't compatible with our Amazon Alexa hub here. But Aqara makes this hub, which Zigbee devices can connect to, and that hub can connect to our native main hub. So this hub has no other goal than connecting our device that we want to connect to the main hub all the way back to the main hub. And that's pretty much the short of it. The confusion comes when you start thinking of secondary hubs like the Aqara Hub as your main hub and you're wondering, oh, should I set up my entire smart home through Aqara? No, you are still gonna need those Aqara hubs, but they're only gonna be there as a vehicle to connect those Aqara devices to your main hub. There's a lot of examples of secondary hubs. Philips Hue is a really common one. The Philips Hue hub will connect to your Amazon Alexa, to your Apple HomeKit, to your Google Home. Lutron also has a hub. Aqara has a hub. There's a lot of those out there. But when you hear hub in those instances, those are secondary hubs that are then connecting to your primary hub, which is hosting your entire smart home and making all of the devices online at all times. Anyway, I hope that made sense. I kind of had to condense that down, and hubs are kind of hard to wrap your head around, but long story short, your main hub should almost always be one of your Amazon Alexa devices, your Apple HomeKit devices like a HomePod, or a Google Home. If you guys have any questions, comments, if you totally disagree with me, let me know there. You know I'd love to hear from you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll catch you in the next video.